Mystic Interview Season 2 with a prominent author, Mr. Shail Gulati. Hi sir, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. So it's an honor to sit with you today and interview you.
It's very nice to have you here.
Thank you so much. Today I'll be reading a few lines which sir has written. It's about God. Where God is. They have told us God is in the temple. God is in the prayer. God is in the right worship. But God is in the mountain wind. God is in the ocean breeze. God is in the silent deep. So can you read for us?
And that's not all. Sometimes it astonishes me how God is present in all the small things that make us laugh and even weep.
Right.
A nice meal, a trilling laugh, a whistled song, that good dance, and of course, can you feel Him peep in the hug that your best friend gives? Meditate upon these.
Right. So they are beautiful lines and amazing lines, very beautiful. So sir, we'll start with the interview now, and I read it somewhere and I even saw it in an interview. You said that you are a passionate mystic. So what is a mystic?
A mystic is, a modern parlance for a spiritualist.
Okay.
But I understand you want to know what a mystic is by definition.
Right.
A mystic can be anything. You see, he's one essentially who's aware of God, and he's therefore aware that everything is interconnected.
Okay.
And he lives his life, or she lives her life, by this. Totally.
Totally.
That is what a mystic is.
Okay. And so you are a renowned author and you have written many books and spiritual books which are about Shiva. So who is Shiva?
Shiva, this is a very interesting question because we should know the basics. We're very fond of Shiva. There is Shiva, the Tattva, okay, which we call consciousness, Om, Nirakar,
okay,
which is the beginning of all things. And that Shiva, sometimes you will hear people say that Shiva has no body and he's not a person.
Right.
But then there is also Shiva the yogi, which we see in books, in films, in stories, which our grandmother told us about. The Shiva who gets married to Parvati is a great chieftain. Now that is Shiva in a roop, in an akar. So once the manifest world is created by Shiva, as Shaivites believe, then Shiva comes into his own world as a person, as a yogi, and he is the one who knows the Shiv Tattva the most. We are all Shiv Tattva. You said who's a mystic?
Yes.
It's not me who's a mystic, you're also a mystic.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
Your barber is also a mystic.
Mm-hmm.
The vendor on the street is also a mystic. The Zen master is also a mystic. You're all mystics.
Okay.
But essentially it's somebody who is very intuitive. And Shiva is the most intuitive of all.
All right.
So that is who Shiva is.
Shiva is. And what is intuition?
Intuition is when you sometimes know things which are, beyond what you can just see or hear or feel, beyond a sense, right? Sometimes when your phone rings and before answering it, I'm not talking about mobile phone, I'm talking about our old landlines.
Yes.
But you would know that ये Santosh Shanti का phone आया है, ये पापा का phone आया है. That's intuition. To be able to see certain or feel certain frequencies which we normally don't feel, like or vibrations which someone else in the room is not able to sense.
Yes.
Like it's said that dogs can hear certain sounds which humans cannot hear. So there's a certain pitch to which we have to, it's accessible, but we need to tune our radio into that. Okay. So intuition is an enhanced sense which enables you to access more than all the five senses which you use on a daily basis.
Okay. And so what is telepathy? A lot of people use this term. So what exactly is telepathy?
Telepathy would be an extension, a usage of, let's say, intuition.
Okay. So it's part of intuition.
Yes, it's an extension of intuition. You may use it knowingly or you may use it, it may just happen just like that.
Okay.
It's again to know things before somebody speaks them.
Okay. Right. And sir, talking about Shiva again, so where has he come from? What is his origin? Where did he live?
Now this is the thing, you see, all our Hindu gods, they have some mythology
Right.
behind them. Krishna ji यहाँ पैदा हुए, फिर
हाँ जी.
यशोदा के पास
Yes.
चले गए, and Ram ji यहाँ पैदा हुए अयोध्या में. About Shiva, they say we do not know his antecedents, and that no one knows what his parentage
Yes,
is.
yes.
He's Swayambhu. Shambhu जिसको हम बोलते
बोलते
हैं.
हैं.
Swayambhu, the self-created. And therefore Shiva, it's believed that he's the eternal consciousness. But can I
Yes,
read a
of course,
passage
of course.
from here?
Please, please.
Yeah. This is one of my books. It's called Shiva, the Ultimate Time Traveler.
Right.
This is an e-book.
Okay.
That's another story.
This was in Amazon?
This is on Amazon.
This is on
Yes,
Amazon.
this is on
Bestseller.
Amazon. So I'm just reading out the author's preface
Okay,
to this
sure,
book.
sure.
And you're saying, who is Shiva?
Sure.
Where does he come
Yes.
from? He's the one who existed even before the world began. He's the one who has been prayed to even when he was unseen. And ever since the very first time he chose to make his presence known, I told you, Shiva the
Yes,
Yogi
yes.
comes. Shiva has been loved by millions. Records about him from ancient folklore are very interesting. He is the perfection of opposites. Supreme spiritual guru, but warrior chieftain.
Yes.
Ascetic, but perfect husband.
Mm.
Mendicant, but householder. Meditative, but intoxicating. Master of yogic stillness, but king of dance.
Yes.
Shiva is the fountainhead where paradox reconciles. In the Hindu pantheon of gods, he is called the destroyer.
Yes.
And yet, known by the beautiful symbol of creation, the Shivling.
Sibling. Yes. Yes.
Shiva is a storyteller's delight.
Mm.
Not only the listener's delight, he's a storyteller's delight because there's so much to him.
Mm.
But because Shiva is hugely paradoxical, it comes as no surprise that much as he is loved by the masses, there have been times when he has actually been maligned in some circles.
Okay.
This may have been by the design of a select few, as had happened at his own father-in-law's house. Or then it may simply be because of ignorance, a lack of knowing Shiva's spirituality. Ignorance is not always bliss. वो कहते हैं ना, ignorance is bliss.
Yes.
Ignorance is not always bliss. Ignorance mostly leads to a fear, which then makes up its own stories. I believed it was important that Shiva's endearing mythology, story of Shiva and he did this and he did that, as well as his scintillating spirituality, both needed to be known.
Okay.
This became my call
That's
to
right.
write on Shiva.
Amazing, sir. Beautiful lines again.
Thank you.
As you mentioned about the Hindu pantheon, so as we know, there are three gods. There's Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh. So
Yes.
the creator and the preserver and the destroyer. And Shiva.
Yes.
So please tell us about that.
Yes, the Hindu pantheon of gods is immense.
Yes.
कहते हैं 33 crore देवता हैं.
Ha, ha, ha.
And but there are essentially three:
Okay.
Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh, which is Shiva, and Mata. But
Yes.
we are not talking about her in this, but she is the most important actually.
Durga
Hindu, yes, Durga Mata, who's also Shivji's wife. So that's
Right,
another
yes.
story.
Okay.
We don't want to go into that right
Okay,
now.
okay.
But that is when the Shakt comes in, and which is actually the original. May I just read
Yes,
another
sure.
passage?
Definitely, sir.
This is my earlier book.
Which is called
The
the
Yogi and the
and
Snake.
We'll come to this later.
This is a spiritual diary,
Okay.
and the yogi is Shiva, and I am the seeker,
Okay.
which is the snake. Okay, and so I'll read out a passage
Yes,
which
sure.
may sort of illustrate what are the three.
Yes.
I know now that I have embarked upon the great Shiva, said the snake, for who else can speak with such clarity and authority? I've always been awed by your character, but this brings me to some difficult points about you.
Right.
Go ahead, said the yogi. Tell me, why are you known as the destroyer in the pantheon of gods?
Yes.
The snake Shiva. यही पूछ रहे हैं ना?
Ha, ha, ha. That's what my question is.
There is no need to be scared, said the yogi. Mythologically, three of us constitute the Trinity.
Okay.
Brahma the creator, Vishnu the preserver, and I, the destroyer of the universe. If we use reductivity and think of this as a business firm, where one provides capital, thus becomes the chairman.
Chairman.
The other runs the affairs and thus becomes the managing director. The third only gets to liquidate the firm if its running turns bad,
Okay.
which is a little unfair. But since the universe already stands created and is so far being preserved, although it is stalling, जो गाड़ी झटके ले रही है, so I hold the key to its destruction.
Okay.
Or final chapter. If I refuse to destroy, there is no need for fear, is there?
Exactly.
I could force the other two to reconsider a few things about the firm. I'm contemplating rectification instead of destruction.
Yes.
How will that sound? Asked the yogi, Shiva the rectifier. Now listen to the philosophy. Philosophically, God is the power of creation, preservation and destruction. These processes go hand in hand. Brahma, Vishnu and I are the same energy manifesting differently.
Differently. Okay. They're one.
Perhaps we need that fourth process, the process of rectification. There again, thought the snake, creation and preservation already undertaken. The key to the fourth must lie with the third.
Right.
So the destructive aspect of God, commonly known as Shiva, is the one to watch. It is he who will give way to rectification.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you for telling us about this, because very few people actually know about.
Some people know the mythology, but it's essential that we start understanding the symbols behind the mythology.
Exactly. But I really want to ask you this question about Mata, which you said, which is about Durga. So Durga Ma was Shivji's wife.
Yes.
And Parvati?
Parvati is a manifestation of Durga.
Okay. And Kali?
Kali is a part of Shakti in a different mood. I normally say Kali is Durga in a dark mood.
In a dark mood?
Yes.
Okay, so if we, when we see a Kali Ma's picture,
yes,
she is standing on Shivji.
Yes.
And her tongue is out, and she's in a lot of anger.
Yes.
A lot of anger. So
yes.
Why?
That's a very beautiful picture, and the story behind it, the popular story is that Kali Ma was very angry with this whole world for many bad things that they're doing, and she wanted to finish the world, so she was on a rampage.
Okay.
Whatever was coming her way, she was finishing it. So उनको कोई रोक नहीं सका, so people said, you have to stop her somehow. So what Shivji did was that he lied down on her path.
Okay. So that she not destroy.
And she overstepped. So that's the phrase. She overstepped. She stepped over him, and the moment she did that, she realized that I've stepped over on my husband. And her tongue came out like that. Galti ho gayi.
Okay.
This is the mythology. But there's a philosophy also, and we'll get into that some other time.
Yes, definitely. And so, talking about your books, who is your inspiration today?
I had a grandmother who was very fond of God. I had my mother, who's passed away now, who was absolutely fond of God, and that was Krishnji. So I have a lineage at home, and they put me as a little child into all these stories and everything. So they were definitely my inspiration. And now my wife Simi is my inspiration. So they're all women, all the Shaktis
all
are
women.
My inspiration.
That's amazing. That's beautiful. And
and Shiva is a ladies' man. The word chivalry, according to me, comes from him.
Okay. And even your name, what do you mean by your name?
My mother named me Shailendra, which is again Shivji's name, a lesser known one. It means King of the Mountains.
King of the Mountains. You have studied in a boarding school, Mayo College.
That's right.
And did you start writing there?
Yes, I started writing there because we had a Mayo magazine called the Mayur, and I used to write poems for that.
Poems for that. And even in Kashmir Times, you have written a lot of articles.
Yes, when I came back from Mayo and I joined college in Jammu, and Ved Bhasinji was the editor of Kashmir Times. And he said, you must write for me, and I wrote a lot of columns for him.
Kashmir Times.
Again, poems and spirituality.
He
carried it for many years.
Many years. Yes. So can you, just read a poem which is very close to your heart?
Yes, I will do that from another book.
Yes.
But I must tell you that Ved uncle started me in Kashmir Times. And then there was Rumedra uncle. I was very lucky, my father knew them both. And he continued that in Daily Excelsior. I have lots and lots of articles in the past in the Daily Excelsior. Both the
Amazing, amazing.
Now this is another book I did. This is a coffee tabler.
Just show it.
This is a coffee tabler, so it can actually be kept on display because it has beautiful art in it. I did this with an artist called Arpana Kaur. And it's called Naam Roop, a tribute to the divine. and it has one painting from her and a poem by me. So we have 34 such pieces,
Okay.
in which various aspects of God are discussed. You know,
Okay.
so there's one on Jesus, there's one on
Okay.
Kabir, one on Nanak Ji,
Oh.
and so on, and then on the paths, the
Okay.
Sakha path, the Bhakti path, the Gyan path. So the one which I'm going to read out to you, I flagged all this.
Okay, nice.
Okay, this is called Parapinda.
Parapinda.
Parapinda. Now,
Can you just show the painting?
Yes, I will do that.
Okay, first, okay.
Para is God. Para, जो परे है, जो सबसे ऊपर है, like Mercury. Para, right? And Pinda is body. So Parapinda, collectively, the Gorakhnath yogis say that the whole world is God's body.
Okay.
So we found a painting in which she has a Buddha, and the Buddha is encompassing other bodies. You know? So, so a universal body.
Yes.
So I'll read the poem out. Parapind, the king in the beggar.
The king in the beggar.
That mendicant in the home dweller. You know, mendicant is one who roams around in the country,
yes.
has no home.
No home.
But the king in the beggar, there is a king in the beggar. That mendicant in the home dweller, the tale, the listener, and the teller.
Oh.
One am I, who sport as the many. I who love and I desire. I create and procreate. I exalt, I refrain. It is I who kill, and I who die.
Right.
I who burn, and I who cry.
Right.
I kindle the fire, and it is I that's born again to play the cosmic game of seek and hide and seek again.
Amazing, sir. It's a beautiful poem. And you know, you said that I kindle the fire.
It is I who kill and I who die.
I who kill.
Yeah. So it is, the Advaitists believe that this is all one energy.
Okay.
You and I are the same.
Same.
So it is not that a great emperor is killing another person. Actually,
it's all
Shiva Tattva playing out the lead.
Okay. And sir, do you believe in rebirth?
Yes, I do.
You believe in rebirth?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
I don't have any, solid recollections of a past birth, but there are so many things in this present life which make you understand that there has to be a past connection which is not clear to you right now.
Yes.
So I do.
And what is karmic retribution?
Now that's a very sensitive subject, a very long one. I personally believe, I think all of you know about what is karma. You've done something, you have no recollection, that is hitting you now, and it must be true because we cannot explain things why do bad things happen to good people.
Right.
But my answer to this is I respect karma, and karmic retribution is कि आपने कुछ किया था आपको वो वापस आ गया, But I believe in the power of love more.
Okay. Yes.
Love for God is the only answer to karmic retribution.
Okay. So we'll end with that.
Okay.
And I think it was one of my best interviews. And I was actually deep in the interview, I didn't realize somebody's recording me.
It is one of my best interviews also. I've also given some, but it's very pleasant with you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.